Now, it's been one of the most anticipated comebacks in pop. After 40 years, ABBA are finally back with a new studio album.
I have that kind of discipline when I play the piano. I just play those songs as I play them. Especially in this film, because there's some songs that the audience might not really have heard unless they're hardcore ABBA fans.
I've always had a certain discipline when it comes to playing the piano. It's not just about hitting the right notes, it's about living those songs, really feeling them as I play. And in this film, you'll hear some songs that, unless you're a hardcore ABBA fan, you might not have encountered. But you see, there's something powerful about these tracks, something deeper than just melodies. ABBA's music made history, didn't it? The kind of history that sticks with you forever. But behind the perfect harmonies, the glittering costumes, the flawless stage performances, there was a side no one saw. And now, Benny Andersson has revealed a truth that might break your heart. It's the truth about what really tore ABBA apart, and why this revelation is sending shockwaves through the entire music world. I promise you, the answers you're about to hear will leave you stunned. ABBA wasn't just another band. They were a global phenomenon. People didn't just know their hits, they felt them. From their iconic stage presence to their legendary songs, ABBA seemed like the kind of band that couldn't be touched. Their perfection wasn't just in their music, it was in their lives too. Or at least that's what it seemed like. But behind all that glitter, behind the fame and fortune, cracks were starting to show. The relationships that once seemed unbreakable began to weaken. Benny and Frida, two of the four members, were more than just bandmates. They were a couple. The other pair, Bjorn and Agnetha, were the same. To fans, they were the perfect match, both on stage and in life. When the spotlight was on them, they smiled, laughed, and performed like nothing could shake them. But the truth, they were falling apart. They were human, just like the rest of us. No one could really see it then, but the pressures of constant touring, the weight of fame, and the personal battles each member was fighting, it all took a toll. For years, fans speculated about why ABBA broke up. And now, Benny is finally speaking out about it. What he's revealed is even more painful than anyone could have guessed. So, what really happened? What was the moment that changed everything? The truth is something no one could have imagined. Let me take you back. Long before ABBA became the household name we all know, Benny and Frida's love story was already unfolding. It started back in 1969 at a Swedish music festival. Benny was already well known for his work with the Hepstars, Sweden's version of the Beatles, and it was there, in the crowd, that he saw Frida perform. Her fiery red hair, her commanding voice, it was impossible not to be drawn to her. But it wasn't just her stage presence. It was something deeper, something undeniable. Their connection was instant, magnetic. They were inseparable from that moment. They bonded over their love of music, their shared dreams, and a burning desire to create something truly special. Benny was captivated by Frida's raw energy. Frida respected Benny's genius for melody and arrangement. Together, they were unstoppable. As ABBA began to take off, their bond grew even stronger. But what the world didn't see, what no one could have guessed, was how the very thing that made them great also began to break them. Their rise to fame was fast, too fast. By the mid-1970s, they were selling out stadiums, topping charts all over the world. But with every new level of success came new pressures. And the very love story that seemed to be their strength, it became one of the things that slowly pulled them apart. This isn't just a story about a band. It's about real people, people who were just as vulnerable as we all are. And sometimes, when you're at the top of the world, that's when things start to crumble. ABBA's rise to the top was nothing short of a musical revolution. They dominated international charts, becoming one of the most successful acts in history. But with that success came an overwhelming pressure, a weight that only grew as their fame skyrocketed. Benny, the meticulous perfectionist, poured himself into the music, spending countless nights in the studio obsessing over every detail. For him, it was about precision, the perfect note, the flawless harmony, the seamless transition from one moment to the next. Frida, on the other hand, was a whirlwind of passion and spontaneity. She thrived on raw emotion, trusting her instincts over structure. Initially, their differences were what made them magical. Benny's precision balanced Frida's free-spirited energy, creating music that was rich, deep, and powerful. But as The demands of the industry grew. Their contrasting approaches began to clash. The long hours, the relentless touring, the constant media scrutiny of these took a toll on their relationship and on the band as a whole. While Frida reveled in the excitement of the spotlight, Benny craved peace and solitude, away from the prying eyes of the public. Their differing lifestyles began to create friction. Friends could feel the tension, the shift in energy between them. What had once brought them together, music was now the very thing pulling them apart. The cracks that had begun as small fissures were growing wider, and the emotional strain was becoming unbearable. By 1979, it was impossible to ignore the tension between Benny and Frida. They had become strangers in the same life. Benny immersed himself in work, locking himself away in the studio, while Frida sought refuge in the company of friends, attending social events. Then, whispers began to circulate. There were rumors about Benny's growing closeness with Mona, NLT, a woman he had met during an ABBA television special. At first, it was nothing more than gossip, but as the rumors spread, the truth began to surface. In early 1981, Benny came home and told Frida something that shattered everything. He had developed feelings for someone else. The news hit her like a tidal wave. Their love, which had withstood the pressures of fame, the whirlwind of global stardom, and the strain of countless hours together, was over. And though they both tried to hold it together for the sake of the band, the pain was too raw. Frida, heartbroken and betrayed, could no longer pretend. After 9 years together, their relationship came to an end. The fallout was felt beyond their personal lives. With both couples now separated, the dynamic within ABBA had shifted. The magic, that incredible energy that once defined them, was slipping away. It was impossible to ignore. The songs, once full of life and unity, now carried a weight of sadness. Tracks like The Winner Takes It All and When All Is Said and Done spoke to the deep emotional turmoil the band was going through. The fans who had once seen ABBA as the epitome of joy now sensed the sorrow in their lyrics. The warmth of the band was fading, and with it, the spark that had ignited their legendary success. Then, in 1982, barely a year after Benny and Frida Breakup, ABBA made an announcement that no one saw coming. They declared a hiatus. There was no grand farewell tour, no public send-off, no dramatic final performance. They simply stopped making music together. To the fans, it was a devastating end to an era. The once unbreakable bond between the band members had shattered, and with it, the heart of ABBA. The world had lost a part of its soul. And as the years went by, the question lingered, could they have ever come back from that? Could the magic ever return? The pressure of fame, the constant emotional toll, and the unrelenting demands of success. By the time Benny and the rest of the band reached the peak of their careers, it was clear that ABBA's time was nearing its end. The cracks had been forming, but they never fully broke apart at least not publicly. In truth, it felt like the magic had quietly faded, and what was once an unstoppable force had transformed into something unrecognizable. ABBA was no longer the powerhouse it once had been. But even as their reign as a band ended, their legacy lived on. Their music continued to resonate with fans worldwide, creating a timeless connection that would never be broken. For decades, the real reasons behind the band's breakup remained shrouded in mystery. Was it the creative differences, the overwhelming pressures of fame, or was it the personal relationships that had ultimately unraveled from within? For years, fans speculated, whispered, and wondered, but no one knew the full truth. Until Benny Andersson, in a rare and candid conversation, opened up about the painful realities of the band's downfall. For the first time, Benny confirmed what fans had long suspected but could never fully understand. He admitted that fame came with a far heavier cost than any of them had ever anticipated. The never-ending cycle of touring, recording, and media appearances took a toll. Not just on their music, but on their personal lives as well. "We were young, and we were living this incredible dream," Benny confessed. But at some point, the dream and reality started pulling in different directions. Behind the sparkling public image, Benny revealed that ABBA was struggling. The immense success the band had achieved placed a burden on their relationships. Balancing personal happiness with the demands of professional success became nearly impossible. When you're in the middle of something that big, you don't even realize how much it's changing you, Benny admitted. Asterisk, when asked about the breakup with Frida, Benny didn't hold back. He explained how their differences, once a source of strength, became impossible to manage. His obsessive perfectionism and late nights in the studio, coupled with their contrasting lifestyles, created an invisible wall between them, and eventually, that wall became too tall to climb. But what truly sealed their fate was Benny's confession about his feelings for Mona. NLT Benny admitted that he didn't plan for it. It wasn't something he sought out. But once he met Mona, his feelings changed, and no matter how much he respected Frida, he couldn't ignore what was happening. "I didn't plan for it," Benny said, "but once it was there, I knew I had to be honest." Frida, understandably, was devastated. While she kept her composure in public, those close to her could see the pain she was carrying. She had given everything to the relationship, and now it had shattered. For the band, the dynamic had changed forever. They tried to continue, push forward as professionals, but the energy, the chemistry that once defined them was gone. The fallout of Benny and Frida's breakup wasn't just personal, it shook the entire band to its core. ABBA, as the world knew them, could never be the same again. But was that really the end of their story? Could the magic of ABBA have found a way to return, in a form no one could have expected? ABBA's journey was one of passion, sacrifice, and lasting impact. They gave the world unforgettable music, but behind the scenes, they paid a price. So, what do you think? Could ABBA have continued if things had played out differently? Or was their journey destined to end the way it did? Let us know in the comments. And before you go, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more deep dives into the world of music. Oh, and make sure to check out the next video. You won't want to miss it.